Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. It helps, it really does. Hello food lovers, it's good you're here. Shi Quan Jet, more famously known as Yen Shi Quan, was born on the 1st of January 1947 in Hong Kong. He is best known for the Jet Li movie Once Upon a Time in China and Donnie Yen's Iron Monkey. Quan's father, Yam Yu Tin, was an actor and director who relocated from Shanghai to Hong Kong in the late 1940s. As a young boy, he would study Kung Fu and other forms of martial arts along with his brother and sister, who would also become actors. In 1952, at the age of 5, he and his siblings would star in their first movie called The Precious Sword and the Magic Bow. That same year, he starred in a movie with his father called The Sword Against Five Dragons, which his father also directed. For the next 14 years, Quan did not feature in any movies. Instead, he would focus on his martial arts training. At the age of 19, he signed a contract with SureBros.Ent Studio and appeared in his first film for them as an extra in the movie Magnificent Trio, starring Jimmy Wang Yu and Lo Ling. Between the years 1967 to 1971, Quan would feature in 53 movies for Shaw Studios, mainly as hoodlums and thugs. Between 1972 to 1977, he featured in 61 movies. Although the majority was for SureBros.Ent Studio, he had also begun working for other producers. Although he had featured in 117 movies and his face was recognizable to moviegoers, Quan still had not gotten his big break. He had been relegated to minor roles as thugs and gangsters. In frustration, he decided to take a hiatus from acting. However, after a 2-year break, Quan's fortune would take a turn for the better. In 1979, he would be given a prominent role alongside Jackie Chan in the movie Dragon Fist. His portrayal as the remorseful master Zhong Jianjun was well received. He would follow this up with the role of the main villain Mo Dong Tak in the movie The 36 Crazy Fists, for which Jackie would also do the fight choreography. Quan would then further cement his legacy by starring as the main villain Yen Chien Wong in Jackie's directorial debut, The Fearless Hyena. He would then finish off the 70s with a bang, starring as Grasshopper Chan in Story of the Drunken Master and the Sick Fist Master in Dance of the Drunken Mantis. Quan's days as an extra were now behind him. In 1980, Quan would star as the titular Killer in White and as the manipulative villain Long Tong Chien in The Master Strikes. In 1982, he would take on back-to-back roles as a good guy, first as Captain Yu in the movie Blood Child, and then as Zhang Li in the Shaw Brothers movie Kid from Kwantung. The Kung Fu movies era was coming to an inevitable end, and in order to adapt to the coming change, in 1986, after the movie Young Taoism Fighter, Quan made the transition into television. After 5 years away from making movies, in 1991, Quan would make a triumphant return with the role that he is now perhaps best known for, Iron Robe Yin Chung Tong, in the Jet Li movie Once Upon a Time in China. Between 1992 to 2001, Quan would have prominent roles in 14 movies. The most notable of those roles would be in the movies The Swordsman 2 and Once Upon a Time in China, both with Jet Li, Dragon Inn with Donnie Yen, Royal Tramp 2 with Stephen Chow, Kickboxer with Yin Bu, and Iron Monkey, again with Donnie Yen. With a career spanning almost 50 years, featuring in 135 films, and facing off against the top talents in Kung Fu cinema, the likes of Huang Zhangli, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, and Donnie Yen, just to name a few. In the year 2001, the movie Goldfingers would be Yen Shi Quan's last credited role. Up to the year 2022, at the age of 75, Quan still resides in Hong Kong with his family, where information about his private life is vague. However, his legacy lives on through his tremendous body of works, which has guaranteed that his place in the annals of Kung Fu cinema is safe and secure. So to Yen Shi Quan we say, thanks for the memories. Chang Po-shen, more famously known as Chang Yi, was born on February 24, 1945 in Huizhou, China. He came from a family of famous circus acrobats who were known for performing death-defying stunts. He is a Chinese actor, director, producer, and a former Shaw Brothers leading man. Chang was trained in martial arts and Peking opera from The Thundering Sword. He would then become typecast as a swordsman in many of Shaw's Bush's movies of the late 60s and early 70s. He would star regularly alongside Jimmy Wang Yu, a leading megastar of the studio at that time. Chang in other movies, The Silent Swordsman and King Cat. Between the years 1968 to 1971, he would appear in 13 consecutive movies for Shaw Studio, usually co-starring Jimmy Wang Yu, Lo Lei, or Cheng Pei. The year 1972 would find Chang branching out with other producers, with the movie The Ghost of Night Crew, a Taiwanese production for Camboy Film Company. He would first don the white wig in 1976's The Ming Patriots, also starring Ho Chung Tang and Carter Wong, and Shaolin Traitor, also with Carter Wong. In 1977, with the film Two Assassins of Darkness, Chang would star for the first time with Dawn Wang Tao. This would begin a partnership that would birth such classic movies as Ten Brothers from Shaolin and Eagle's Claw, 1977, Phantom Kung Fu, The Challenge of Death, Shaolin Iron Claws, Fatal Needle Fatal Fist, Shaolin Invincible Sticks, and Shaolin Kung Fu Master, all in 1978. Their on-screen chemistry was on this villain in the classic movie The Victim. He would also star in the movie Monkey Kung Fu and a few others. He would then make the transition into television, where he would appear in a number of action series. By the late 80s, the Kung Fu era had come to an end, and the Gun Fu era had begun. Chang would try his hand with a few of the new wave action films, such as Where's Officer Tuba, 1986, and Magnificent Warriors, 1987. These two movies would see Chang movie The Moon Warriors. With a movie career spanning 25 years and 96 films, Chang would mainly focus on television work until the early 2000s, when he retired and moved to Vancouver, Canada. Up to the year 2022, he still resides there, with more than a few classic movies to his name and many memorable performances throughout his career. It is safe to say that Chang Wang Nap Tak, better known as Lo Lei, was born on the 29th of June 1939 in Indonesia. The Hong Kong film actor is best known as Chow Chi Hao from the 1972 Kung Fu movie King Boxer, aka Five Fingers of Death, Priest Pai Mi in Executioners from Shaolin and The Fist of the White Lotus. Lei was born into an Indonesian Chinese family. He was sent back to Hong Kong at a young age by his parents to attend school. They wanted their son to remember his true heritage. He joined Shaw's Academy at an early age and was among their first set of students who graduated. He was considered to be quite talented and among their finest. Almost immediately, he would feature in various standout roles, both as heroes and villains. Lei would star in the film Brothers 5 in 1970, also starring Cheng Pei and the Chinese boxer with Jimmy Wang Yu. Legendary director Chang Cheh would take notice of his performances and cast him in the classic movie Five Fingers of Death. In the movie, Lei starred as a martial artist whose master sends him to learn a secret kung fu skill so that he could win a tournament and overcome a gang of criminals. The movie was such a success in Hong Kong that it came to the attention of Warner Brothers Studio. Although Bruce Lee was making movies at this point, in the West, kung fu films were still unpopular. Warner Brothers got the distribution rights to the Five Fingers of Death and released it in the United States as an experiment. The move proved to be successful. The movie would perform very well at the box office. The fight scenes left a huge impression on audiences who had never witnessed anything like it before. With the longevity that he had, Lei practically worked with everyone in the kung fu movie genre several times over. But some of his finest moments were his team-ups with the legendary Gordon Liu in films like The Fist of the White Lotus, Fist and Guts, The 36th Chamber of Shaolin, and Dirty Ho, just to name a few, are beyond legendary. Lei remained at Shaw Brothers for quite some time before going on to work for other studios, where he would feature in many of the biggest and most high-profile films of the 70s and early 80s. The studio soon discovered that Lei could play the hero, the villain, the supporting character, or even the comedy relief. Lo Lei would be very instrumental along with Chang Li and Huang Jianli in popularizing the white-haired kung fu villain that became popular in the 1970s and early 80s. He would become so closely associated with these type of characters that he would end up wearing the white beard and wig on many occasions. One of his most memorable roles as a white-haired villain was against Gordon Liu in Fist of the White Lotus. What was especially interesting about this movie is that it was a loose remake of the already classic film Executioners from Shaolin, with Lei reprising the pioneer character from that movie. As the 90s came around, Lei remained as relevant as he was in the past, playing mob bosses and gangsters in the new wave Kung Fu films, which were the new craze. He featured in the movies Miracles and Super Cops starring Jackie Chan. He also shifted his work to television, becoming a regular on shows from the Asia Television Limited. He eventually retired at the end of the decade. In 2002, a year after he announced his intention to permanently retire from acting, sadly, Lo Lei would die from a heart attack. He would leave behind two sons, both from his second wife, an older sister of director Stanley Tong. With an impressive legacy that boasts more than 100 Kung Fu movies and 9 directing credits, almost 300 movies in total, plus other credits in television works, it is safe to say Lo Lei left a lasting mark on the martial arts genre. To Lo Lei we say, thanks for the memories. Wang Longwei, more famously known as Johnny Wang, was born on the 14th of July 1949 in China. He is a martial artist, actor, director, producer, and action choreographer, who is best known for his role as the traitor of Shaolin, Ma Fu Yi, in the classic Kung Fu movies Shaolin Temple and 5 Shaolin Masters. He has starred in close to 100 movies, mainly Kung Fu films for Shaw Brothers Studios, beginning in the early 70s to the mid-80s. Wang's family came to Hong Kong while he was still a child. As a young boy, Wang was very rebellious by nature. This attitude contributed to him being labeled a bad student, as he would regularly get into fights at his school. During one particular fight, one of his opponents got badly hurt and Wang was expelled from his school. He then found himself wandering aimlessly and without any real plans for the future. To survive, he began playing his guitar in bars and nightclubs. He also began learning martial arts from a local master. Possessing a natural gift for fighting, along with his athleticism, he progressed at a rapid rate. At the age of 24, Wang responded to an ad in the newspaper stating that Shaw Brothers Studios top director Chang Che was searching for new actors. Wang applied and was chosen by Chang, who saw his potential. Wang made his film debut in the classic movie Shaolin Martial Arts in 1974 as one of the main baddies, alongside Leung Ka-yan. Even though he was inexperienced and had limited acting abilities, his physical abilities stood out, so much so that same year he would be given a chance to play a character in the classic film, The 5 Shaolin Masters, that he would forever be associated with, the Benjamin Franklin of Kung Fu movies, the traitor of Shaolin, Ma Fu Yi. He would once again portray this character in 1976's prequel, Shaolin Temple, aka Death Chamber. The die was cast. From that movie onwards, it became a pattern in that he was cast as the villain in the majority of his movies, with Martial Clubs 1981 and The Mercenaries from Hong Kong 1982 being 2 famous exceptions. From 1976 onward, Wang became the go-to bad guy for Shaw Studios. It seems like every director at Shaw would call on him to do a movie. He would average between 6 and 8 movies per year, and not just any movie. His resume is littered with classic films like Chinatown Kid 1977, The 5 Deadly Venoms 1978, Kid with the Golden Arm 1979, Fist of the White Lotus 1980, and Martial Club 1981, just to name a few. For every one movie that was mentioned, there were literally 4 or 5 more classics not mentioned on this list. From Wang's second movie, Shaolin Temple, he would develop a chemistry with the late great Alexander Fuchsik that would have many directors pairing them up for numerous on-screen duels. They have dueled each other in at least 16 different movies. Although Wang has many other memorable team-ups against many other legendary Kung Fu movie stars, the other person that stood out is Gordon Liu. Their battles in Clan of the White Lotus and Return of the 36th Chamber, 1980, Treasure Hunter and Martial Club, 1981, are all classics. From 1974 to 1980, Wang worked exclusively for the Shaw Studio. He would feature in 34 films in that period of time. However, in the year 1980, he would for the first time share his talent with other producers. He would play the villain in 2 classic independent films, 2 Toothless Tigers for Sammo Hung's film company, and 2 On the Road for Goldig Films Hong Kong Limited. He would do these films while still managing to feature in 7 movies for Shaw Studio in that year. In 1985, Wang moved behind the camera, choreographing fight scenes, writing and directing many movies such as Hong Kong Godfather and This Man is Dangerous, both for Shaw Brothers Studios. He would go on to direct a total of 10 films while still maintaining his acting career. In the 1990s, he appeared in the movies Twin Dragons with Jackie Chan and New Legend of Shaolin with Jet Li. He would also star in a few television series for ATV and TVB. Wang retired from making movies in the late 2000s. However, by this time he had already secured his legacy and claimed his place as one of the top 5 villains in Kung Fu cinema history. To Johnny Wang Long Wei we say, thanks for the memories. Wang Jiangli, born December 21, 1944, is a Japanese-Korean martial artist and film actor. Wang is best known for his role as Thunderleg in 1978's Drunken Master, Shen Quan in 1978's Snake in the Eagle's Shadow, and Silver Fox in 1976's Secret Rivals. Wang was born in Omori, Honshu Island, Japan, to Korean parents. His family moved back to Korea when he was a baby. Martial arts background. Wang took Taekwondo lessons from age 14 and achieved the 7th Dan Black Belt in 1965 at the age 21. Wang became a martial arts instructor for the Korean and South Vietnamese armies, specializing in the skill of Taekwondo. In January 2003, Wang received his 9th Dan Black Belt in Taekwondo. In addition, he currently holds a 9th Dan degree rank with the World Tang Soon Do General Federation. Wang still actively teaches martial arts. He is currently an instructor with the World Tang Soon Do General Federation and serves as technical advisor. He recently completed a tour of the US and Canada, in which he, along with other Korean grandmasters, promoted the study and practice of traditional martial arts. Acting career. Wang began his acting career in Korean movies. Wang had featured in several movies in Korea when in 1976 director NGCN invited him to star as the main villain, Silver Fox, in the film Secret Rivals. The movie found great success with audiences worldwide and would go on to become a classic in the martial arts movie genre. It also made household names of its main cast and many of its background players. Wang would go on to star in many martial arts movies, usually playing the main villain. In 1978, Wang starred alongside Jackie Chan in 2 classic films, Snake in the Eagle's Shadow and Drunken Master, as Shen Quan and Thunderleg respectively. These 2 films would solidify Wang's status as a go-to bad guy for the next few years in Kung Fu movies. Directing. Wang directed a total of 4 films, the first in 1981, Hitman in the Hands of Buddha. In 1983, he would direct the film Canton Viper. To date, this film has never gotten an official release. He would also direct Never Again in 1990 and Emperor of the Underworld in 1994. Other films and retirement from acting. Wang would get an invitation in 1989 by Grandmaster Jun Chong to come to America to star as a villain in the film Street Soldiers. To bring a more Americanized flavor to the film, Wang decided to use the name Jason Huang, which, incidentally, is the given name of his son. In the early 1990s, Wang returned to South Korea, where he ran a hotel and a golf team manufacturing company in Seoul. He would also go on to manage a bodyguard agency. During this time, Wang would only appear occasionally in movies such as Emperor of the Underworld 1994 and Boss 1996. In July 1996, Hwang would officially retire from acting at the age of 51. Anecdotes. Like a scene straight out of one of his movies, while he was an instructor in the Korean Army, Hwang was challenged by a knife fighter. The story, as told by Hwang himself, is they were at a bar and the knife fighter, who obviously had too much to drink, was boasting that his knives were better than Hwang's kicks. Wanting nothing to do with the situation, Hwang said he turned to walk away when the guy lunged at him from behind. He was alerted of the impending attack. He sidestepped and connected with a roundhouse kick to the guy's temple, killing him instantly. Return to acting. After a long absence from acting, Hwang made an appearance in the TV series The Return of Jimmy. Hwang is featured in the documentary film The Anonymous King, in which James Hudson examines Hwang's personal life in Seoul, Korea, and Hong Kong. In 2014, he began a 100-country tour connecting with his fans in different parts of the world. In 2017, he opened a dojo in Korea. He can presently be found on social media where from time to time he reaches out to his millions of fans. To Hwang Jang Lee, we say, thanks for the memories. If you have enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And feel free to leave a comment. Thank you and may the food be with you.